Now, after months of inactivity, domestic airlines have once again taken to the skies.
In Abuja, passengers ready to take trips are being screened in accordance with COVID-19 safety protocols at the local wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. TVC News correspondent Lara Fonayo told us earlier that passenger turnout is low at the domestic wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. All right, joining us now via Skype from Port Harcourt is Captain Everest Naji, the CEO OAS Helicopters. Captain Naji, it's nice to have you join us right now.
Hello, how are you?
Well, we're fine. Now, as a captain, let me start from your primary jurisdiction, the aircraft. All aircrafts worldwide have been down and not working for a period of time, running into months. Now that the aircraft are taking to the skies again, what kind of maintenance or precautions or issues of concern should any captain look forward to, and even passengers?
Well, as it is, the industry is a highly regulated one. The maintenance procedure or protocol in terms of running an aircraft is a very reliable one. It's been tested over the years. So no pilot will be scared or worried about the aircraft they're about to fly, because there are, maintenance procedures that have been established that have been used over the years around the world, which are easy to understand, especially to pilots. So when aircraft is not flying or didn't fly for a long time, there are procedural checks that need to be done. And then every operator, of course, has, its own maintenance department, people with engineers, qualified aircraft engineers that are rated on that very aircraft. So you can trust them. So if the aircraft is, to go into service, you as a pilot, of course, you know the system you have in your company where you operate, and they have certified the aircraft, and they're all there to sign you off to release the aircraft to flight. These are qualified engineers rated on the aircraft. So the moment they release the aircraft for flight, of course, you can, walk into that aircraft knowing that aircraft is sound. So in that way, no pilot will be scared to fly simply because the aircraft was on ground for 4 months or so. Even when you operate your regular fleet, there are times you have 1 or 2 aircraft, on ground for maintenance for 4 months and stuff. So it's not a problem for the aircraft. And then for the, to the general public, I would say anybody qualified to fly in Nigeria, especially as a pilot, can be trusted. Most of the people are well trained. A lot of them trained overseas. Even those trained here too are highly competent. And then the currency, which is what makes you to continue to fly as a pilot, is another thing. You can be a pilot and may not be current. The license is still there for you as a pilot, but for you to be current to fly commercial, you need to do what they call recurrent training, which happens every 6 months. So in that way, that brings you back to the cockpit and bring you to be quite familiar with the aircraft, even though you have been flying it all along. So in that way, every pilot that's going to fly definitely is current. And I don't see any problem.
Naji, if you could just hold your thoughts for a second. We have our correspondent Lillian Ezemark at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos. Lillian, talk to us the level of activity at the airport where you are right now. Passenger traffic, what's the situation?
The passengers traffic, I will say, is impressive. We went to the 2 terminals and we found out that Arike has a lot of passengers this morning, surprisingly. And then Air Peace is also getting ready. But the first flight is for 7 and is by Arike. Then the second flight will be coming around 10, and that's Air Peace. And the airlines that got approved for these operations are Arike, Aero Contractors, Azman Air, Air Peace, and Dana Air. Those are the 5 airlines that will be operating for now. And they have gone through all the things that they told them to do, including training their staff in accordance with WHO, World Health Organization, International Civil Aviation Organization, and they have done all of that, so that their passengers will be safe, and they too will be safe when they are
All right, so
conducting the
looking at
operation.
safety and maintaining safety, thank you very much, Lillian Ezemark, for your time on the program, letting us know what's going on at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos. Now, let's get back to Captain Naji. Now, one issue of concern is the seating arrangement within the aircraft. We understand that there won't be configurations where some seats will be taken out. So what concerns are there in complying with safety?
Well, I don't really think that is a problem because once you have the mask, once you adore your mask, and you also have the necessary protocol that have been put in place now, the filtration system in the aircraft and all that, the way that it is been designed now. So the filtration system is no longer going to be like once in a while. I think it's going to be almost like on daily exchange right now. So if you have that and you are seated in the aircraft, I don't see why anybody should be worried about it. And then we've tested it. Industry has tested it. During the lockdown, there's been a lot of special flights, for people evacuating their nationals from one country to the other. And we noticed, if you see what was being aired, there was no removal of seat, there was no distance in the aircraft. And we haven't seen any spike or anybody who made those trips, having a complaint of anything. So there hasn't been any special case of saying that because people sat too close to each other, even some of them are like 6 hours flight or more. And then there was no problem. So there are a lot of, safety and security measures have been put in the airplane. And then also, to change the seating configuration of an aircraft is a different thing altogether. It's not as simple as it sounds. The moment you move the seat around an aircraft, you have to reweigh the aircraft and recalibrate the aircraft. So the center of gravity of that aircraft is going to move. And once the CG moves, it means that pilot can no longer expect responses for the control input as they had known it. So the moment you move the seat in an aircraft, it goes through some series of recertification that is not going to be easy, and then the pilot will have to retrain to respond to the reactions and control responses of that aircraft. So it's not going to be easy as it sounds, like removing middle seats that we're doing at the airport sitting halls and stuff. In an aircraft, is a different ball game. But with the flight that have been conducted over the period, we have seen that the measures put in place is safe enough for people to fly around. So people shouldn't be scared flying.
All right, quickly talk to us about the cooling system, because a lot of passengers have concerns with that, because it seems like there's a central cooling system when it comes to aircraft. Could you talk to us more on that, especially allaying the fears of passengers?
Okay, there is a filtration system that takes the air out of the fuselage. That is where we sit inside the airplane, and through a duct and some other mechanism, and then recycle and filter it. So this time around, because when you fly in an airplane, it's pressurized. In other words, air is not coming from outside. The air is boxed in the aircraft. So the filtration system, is something that in some aircraft you change them every 6 months, some 3 months, so depending on the hours you're flying. It just depends on the model of aircraft. But this time around, more precautionary measures have been made in such a way you can determine whether you should change it per flight or change it per 10 hours of flight and stuff. And that is what most airlines are doing. But it's not one of those things people want to share, to the public, because it's highly technical. It's not, if I have to go into explaining all that to you, it's going to take a lot of time. But I can assure you that what has been done around the world, not only in Nigeria, there's, there is an understanding, a kind of agreement of what to do to make sure that the same one set of people fly, the same filtration system, one set of people fly, will not be the one the next people will fly. So it is just very safe.
All right, thank you very much, Captain Everest Naji. You've taken us to aviation classes this morning, I must say.
Absolutely. Now, talk to us how the excitement you have with regards to the reopening of the domestic airlines today. What expectations, what are you looking forward to?
Well, the excitement is there for everybody, because you see the lockdown has been there for the past 4 months. And there's been, complete zero activity, everywhere. So And then people want to move. People want to be able to go from one place to the other, for their businesses and see their loved ones and see their families. And that hasn't happened in the past 4 months. And then the airliners, of course, they want to put aircraft back in the air so that at least they can make some money because you have some, expenses and bills to pay. You have pilots you hired and you cannot have dehired. You cannot have sacked them. So you're still paying them even when they're not flying. Even if you don't pay all, you have to pay them because they need to support their families. And then you have your investment, you have, money. I mean, no airline can really operate with its own money. So there's always the bank and there's always the cost of fund and stuff. So you actually want to get back into service and, begin to see how far anybody can, we can get back in our lives again. So that's the excitement.
All right, as it is now, it is obvious, in fact, analysts have said from IATA to all the experts that there's going to be there is financial losses already, there are job losses already, and going forward, looking into what the few months ahead will look like is still quite bleak. Now, talk to us from the window of the intention of the federal government to concession some of the airports, especially the 4 international airports, major international airports in Nigeria. What do you make and what hopes do they have to revive things?
Yeah, honestly, if our airports, should run like the airports we know around the world that we all clamor for, it has to be concessioned. But the problem is, would it be concessioned to those who have the capacity to run it and who have their hearts to it, or is it going to be concession for the sake of money making? And that is where I always want people to say, aviation is not a place to make quick return on money. So if the airport is concessioned to those who have the powers and the capability, and the love and passion to drive it, it will be the best thing for us because then the investors will, make it look like every other good thing we have around the country, driven by private, investment. So it will be a good thing, but, to me, I also, like I said, is not a place for quick return on investment. So anybody who is going to be part of it must remember that the nation, our name, our reputation as a country and as a people must be paramount in mind. I don't want to join forces with those who say, no, let the airport remain run the way it is run now, because it hasn't been run, at the best, possible international standard. Even if you go, no matter how much you try to show love for your country, when you go around the airport, you find out that it's not as clean, as plumb, as beautiful as every other thing we have in Nigeria. It's usually very, very annoying when you see certain things which ordinarily you should be able to do better. And it's not like we don't have the money. So that is my take for it. It's a very delicate area because I am in the industry. I don't want to hurt anybody by what I'm going to say. But I'm sure you understand what I mean by this.
But what key considerations would you want the government to put in mind if it is to make this concession?
Yeah, the consideration will be to find those in the industry who would show interest, not just for making money, but to support the nation, to give us the public appeal, the international appeal we need, and then they should have the capacity to fund it, not those who will be relying on banks, because there is no going to be quick return on investment. If you look at the number of aircraft flying around in Nigeria, and you look at the charges they're going to charge them, you look at the number, you find out that it's not going to be easy to make huge profit out of it. So I would advise that they look at people who have stake in the industry, who have passion for the industry, who are also going to look beyond immediate return on investment. It's going to happen. By the time you run the airport for a long time and there's the reliability, and then Nigeria, given our position, become a hub where all the African countries, or rather our international airlines begin to find comfort to come to, it will grow, and then profit and profitability will begin to show face. So my advice, to make it short, is that government should look at those who have enthusiasm and the financial capacity and the patience, the tenacity to run the airport. They also the standard at heart to give us the kind of befitting infrastructure that all of us can be proud of.
All right. We have few airlines and also few aircrafts in Nigeria in comparative terms to other countries. How current are Nigerian pilots when it comes to understanding the trends of what is going on, considering the fact that We keep churning out new pilots and fresh pilots from the aviation school every year.
Okay, well, to be honest with you, Nigerian pilots, both those trained here locally and abroad, they are as good as they come. Anybody who flies in this country can go to any country and, and fly. And it has been happening. A lot of people left here, go to any country in the world because it's same. Let me just run you through what it is. When you go to aviation school and become a pilot, it's like going to university to become a graduate. And then that's just a license. Then you have to come back again and then type-rate yourself or sponsor to be type-rated to a particular model of aircraft you're going to fly. So let me use what we all know to describe what we don't know. You're a vehicle driver, and then you have to drive Honda Accord. So you are type-rated on Honda Accord alone. In other words, so that is the one that makes you, be able to fly. So in that way, if the moment you're getting to that, it is going straight to the most possible international standard. Because, for instance, when you go on type rating, you are going to the same place where everybody comes to. Unfortunately, there's none in Nigeria yet. And then when they certify you there, what they're saying to you is that this person is certified, again, using what we all know to describe what we don't know, certified to drive Honda Accord proficiently.
All right, words, Captain Naji, I'm afraid we have to leave the conversation here now. Thank you so much for speaking with us.